That motion passes. Can you escort everybody out without a credential?
Mr. Chair, while we're doing that, could I read the section of Robert's rules that I was referring to before?
For what regarding?
Regarding whatever the motion was, and when I said that this body can do things against parliamentary law?
I think we're already past that, so.
Okay, well, then I can send it out if you want me to. Would you want me to do that?
I'm sorry?
Would you like me just to send it so we don't spend time doing that right now?
Yeah, let's do
okay.
that. Point of information, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah.
The speakers are on in the foyer out there, so everything we discuss in here on the microphones is being broadcast.
Mr. Chairman?
Yeah.
Can we get a quorum count, please?
Okay. Test, test, test. Can you hear it? Test, test, test. White noise? Okay, but everybody in the room, there's been an ask for a quorum count, so if we can just count around the room. No, you don't need to stand, just count.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13,
Okay.
Request for information. According to our rules, we're not supposed to have these executive sessions recorded except by our party secretary. Have we turned off all recordings and it's not being leaked out to the press and certain people that send it to everybody?
Not as naive to think that it's not going to make it to the press, so continue.
Have you asked your people to turn off all recorders?
Please turn off your electronic devices.
Including staff?
Stop your no tweeting, no Facebook Live, all that stuff. Please shut down your recording devices. Okay, thank you. Brady, you ready? You ready?
So,
is that your electronic device? Are you recording this?
Exactly, yeah. So this is, I guess I also want to make sure if we could have staff leave as well. I don't think this will take very long, and I don't think it's pertinent for them to be here.
Okay, staff has always been included in these meetings. Peter, are you voluntarily leaving? Yeah, just step outside, Peter. Thank you.
Okay, and so as this pertains to the chair, I think it would be appropriate to have where's the vice chair? Okay, well, I'm not sure if there's a rule about it, if the chair should oversee any proceeding involving any claims against him or not, but I would just, if you want to chair it, then I'm just.
Thank you. I'll stay here.
Okay, very good then. So the particular thing that I'm wanting to discuss here involves the bylaws, which at our last meeting, I raised a parliamentary inquiry regarding the status of the bylaws on the website as being consistent with the current version of the bylaws amended by this body. The chair at the time responded, according to our minutes that we approved today, that the correct bylaws are on the website. As a point of order, I raised that bylaws on the website are not the bylaws that were voted upon by the SCC. A discussion ensued, and the chair ruled that the parliamentary authority has the authority to bring our bylaws into compliance with the Constitution and state law, which ruling was appealed and not sustained. I motion to appeal that, and that ruling was not upheld.
Okay, is this a discussion item? No actions can be taken out of this. It's just for discussion only. Okay, just to make that clear. And the only action that can be taken in a discussion item is to discuss this at the next meeting. We can discuss it, but we need to put it on. If any actions are to be taken, it needs to be at the next meeting. Does that make sense?
I'm not sure if I agree with that, but I'm going to state my intent here, and then we'll determine if that's in order or not based on that. With that,
which if we're trying to follow parliamentary procedures, you're kind of allowing a mob rule. If you have the votes, you can do whatever you want. I'm just saying parliamentary procedure in a discussion topic, which it was noticed as, you're violating the people's right who choose not to attend by taking action on a discussion item at a meeting. Does that make sense?
I understand the point that you're making.
Right,
I don't feel that this violates that
Chair.
intent.
Point of order.
Yeah.
We have taken action items out of executive session numerous times that were not previously noted.
Okay.
Make a point of order, please.
Yeah, go ahead, Kim.
You give any time limitations on these discussion items, please, given the time of day?
You can make a motion to limit the time.
I move that we limit these discussion items to 3 minutes in presentation.
Okay,
For
the motion on the-
presentation.
For
For the
presentation.
presentation.
So the motion on the
item.
floor is to limit these discussion items to 3 minutes for the presentation. Is that debatable?
For each discussion item, 3 minutes
Yes,
for
for each.
presentation.
Okay, this is not debatable. Each discussion item, so A, B, C, D, and E, is that correct, Kim?
Yes.
Okay. All in favor of 3 minutes to, how is that worded? 3 minutes to, per each presentation. 3 minutes per each presentation. All in favor of that, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, say no. No. Okay, the ayes have it. Start the clock.
Mr. Chair, could I just make a point before Brady starts? I just think that it's not fair for those who did not to attend to keep us from doing business and to put it forward to the next meeting where, again, people will not be in attendance, and so it just perpetuates that cycle.
But at least it will be noticed, and they can choose whether or not to
There
attend.
has been notice. There was notice.
Not this one. This one was just added today.
Well,
there was nobody knew about
but
this.
the other ones that you were talking to were noticed.
As discussion items only.
Anyway, it's unfair for us to not do business.
If you wanted it to be an action item, it should have been changed in the order. It should have been in the order of business up in 1, 2, or 3 where we discussed and actually conducted business. Okay, it's just small, but it's procedure. Okay, start the clock. 3 minutes.
So, based on the allegations of what took place there being inappropriate with handling the bylaws and placing the correct adopted version of the bylaws and submitting that to the Lieutenant Governor, I would propose a resolution that a committee be elected to investigate allegations regarding publishing the bylaw documents consistent with the documents approved by the State Central Committee, which, if true, would cast doubt on the chair's fitness to continue in office, and that he could, if the committee be instructed, if it concludes the allegations are well-founded, to report resolutions covering its recommendations. So my intent is to appoint a committee to investigate whether or not any of that is valid, and then that committee would then report back to this committee, and then action would be taken at that point where no action could be taken at this time.
Well, the way you said it, come up with a resolution to appoint a committee. A resolution, again, falls in that notice requirement.
This is taken from Robert's rules. I didn't catch that if that was directed to me.
It's frozen. It's frozen. Okay. I can create a committee. I would like to be exonerated as this as well, because the procedure that I went through to modify the bylaws was not only parliamentary, but it was also legal, okay? I had legal counsel who reviewed this. 3 separate legal counsels advised me on this, okay? And then through parliamentary procedures, if it violates your own governing documents or law, which you can't do, it never happened, okay? Therefore, I would love for a committee to investigate this and report on this to this body, okay? Now, as far as forming this committee, we cannot do it here because it wasn't noticed properly. However, if you request that, I'll take that under advisement, and maybe I'll create a committee to investigate this and report to the body.
Mr.
I
Chair.
feel that if I were to create a committee, you would think it was biased and wouldn't take it as fact. I would like to defend myself and have the opportunity to do so. So therefore, I think this needs to be discussed in a meeting where action items can be taken. Does that make sense?
What you're saying makes sense. I'm not sure if it applies to the situation, though. I don't feel that this is outside of, I don't feel that this would require notice to be sent in advance. So I would, I guess I would challenge a ruling that that's required in this case. The Constitution does allow us to amend the agenda, for example, and with a 2/3 vote, we could amend it even after it's adopted. So I don't see how that couldn't take place here as well.
Well, it was amended with this item as a discussion item. It wasn't.
But what I'm saying is that we
business.
would still be able to amend it even at this point with a 2/3 vote.
Okay, you could amend the agenda and go back into the business portion now
So
if you want to do that.
If
So
there's a parliamentary
make a motion.
inquiry to accomplish this, then we would amend the agenda with a 2/3 vote to add an action item, which would then allow us to do what we're doing, what I'm
to make a
proposing
motion
to do now.
Yeah, everybody that voted to put it
Well,
on the discussion item.
it was put into section 5, which was not, or sorry, the before section 5. It was motion to go before section 5. It was at the end of 4.
No, I don't think so. I wrote it in as 5A, and that's what was voted on by the body. So
Okay, well, if that's
So-
the case, then
make a motion to amend the agenda.
I would motion that we amend the agenda to allow this action item to form an investigative committee according to Robert's rules.
Okay, motion on the floor is to agenda. Move this item, add this item to the agenda so that they can so you can take action on it.
Point of information.
Yes, go ahead.
Fred Cox, Salt Lake County. Earlier today, when this came up, and there was a discussion that the bylaws currently on the website or whatever didn't match what we voted on and we discussed the last State Central Committee, you didn't say that you wouldn't do it. You just basically said you've been busy, staff issues. And I don't know, since you haven't said that you won't do it, I'm wondering if this is premature. I mean, obviously you've had lots of time, but if you look long term, but for the last couple of weeks or whatever, you've been worried about an election. Is this something that you're going to do anyway or not? And maybe that would affect my vote.
No, I intended, when it got to right before the election, I intended to wait until these changes were incorporated into it and then updated at that point. I had conversations with Justin Lee about our bylaws, and he said, don't worry about updating them. It's not going to affect the election now. We're past the primary. So I have had a discussion with the state elections office.
Thanks. Mr. Chair, if I could. Just to follow up on that, is that you're saying your intent was to update them even after your position was that they were illegal?
No, this is the current bylaw from the last meeting.
Which would include the adoptions of the previous one that you stated were illegal?
Were invalid, yes.
Right, so your intent is to publish what you stated was an invalid copy of the bylaws?
I'm confused. You're going to state that a different way.
So the bylaws that you stated that were invalid, that you did not publish because you stated they were invalid, are included in the bylaws that were adopted this last meeting that you're now saying is your intent to publish. Is that correct?
Is my intent? I'm consistent, horribly consistent, and I intend to stay consistent with that so that the party doesn't violate state election law.
So you are not intending to publish the
I will
bylaws
go
that were
through
adopted by...
I will go through the attorneys and the parliamentary procedures again and look at that again.
So you are still refusing to adopt the bylaws that have been adopted and re-emphasized by this committee on multiple times that are the correct governing documents of this body and publish those. You're refusing to do that? That's what your intent is?
I'm not refusing to do that. I will publish what is valid and current.
Which is not the same as what has been adopted and reaffirmed by this body multiple times.
Okay.
Is that correct? Is that what you're saying?
That's your opinion. Thank you.
Okay, well, there's the version that has been adopted, and there's the version that you're saying you're willing to publish. Are those the same version? I think that's a simple question.
State that again. I don't understand what you're saying.
There's the version that this body adopted and re-emphasized again, as despite your opinion of them being invalid, are the correct documents for the body.
Please.
And then there's the documents that you're saying you're willing to publish. Are those the same version?
I will review those documents after they're updated from this meeting, and we'll look at those at that time.
Mr. Chair, I would submit that you do not have the authority to defer to anything other than this body with regard to the proper publishing of the governing documents of this body.
Thank you.
So with that, again, I guess I speak in favor of the motion to add to the agenda an action item to investigate the very matter that you're discussing at this time.
Okay. It's a majority vote was required to add an agenda item. 2/3.
There was a point of parliamentary inquiry before that was made, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead.
Under our bylaws, which body has the authority to write and pass bylaws?
There's no question on that. However, this body, just like parliamentary procedure, cannot violate state law or superseding government.
Not asking that question. If something were passed by this body that was contrary to a presumed violation, which body would then be the rightful body to remedy that alleged discrepancy?
Well, it could be adjudicated as well. When I
court of sufficient jurisdiction.
When I go to the Attorney General's office and they rule, and this happens several times, and they make a ruling, that ruling is what is law until it's adjudicated otherwise.
We're not talking law, bylaws of a private organization. So as you've answered, this body is the assembly that passes bylaws, that has the authority to pass bylaws.
Well, I'm telling you, there's a priority in law, which our own Constitution states. Law, Constitution, bylaws,
Respectfully, that's not the question at debate. That's not the parliamentary inquiry that I have. If there was a question of validity, rather than taking unilateral authority to rewrite bylaws or to refuse to submit bylaws, the rightful action would have been to call a special meeting of this assembly, bring those to them and say, we have a problem here. This is the information that I have received. I can't write bylaws. I can't go out and change this. Only the governing body can. We have to fix this. How are we going to fix this? And return that to this body to fix this. That was the rightful way to do it. The executive committee was not consulted. The state central committee was not consulted. Unilateral authority was assumed by the chair, which the chair does not have under our bylaws to do something that is out of order.
Okay. All right. I did advise the body at the time when this bylaw was discussed and passed at Entrada that this was a violation of law. Okay?
And this body voted to adopt those bylaws, which bound you under the direction of this body to comply with that request.
I don't disagree with that. However, you're looking at jeopardizing our Republican candidates and the elephant and acting on the advice of the Lieutenant Governor Election Office, the Attorney General's Office, counsel at the time, and parliamentary procedure. I acted in the manner that I acted. Now the body needs to readdress this.
I appreciate that. You thought you were acting in the best interest, but this body is the body that acts in that regard. So if you wanted to do it, you could have either said, I'm not going to do this, and acquiesced that role, or you could have returned it to this body with those concerns. But this body passed those. So respectfully, Mr. Chair, if you are not going to faithfully execute the directives of this body, then I am going to take this opportunity to censure you. And as such, under Roberts, I am going to direct this to the vice chair, if she's present, to hear this proposed censure of the chair.
Okay, and this,
Mr. Chair, at this point, it would be appropriate for you to step aside and allow the vice chair to handle this section of the meeting.
Point of order, Mr. Chair. Point of order. This conversation is not germane to the motion on the floor, which is to add to the agenda whether or not we want to vote to create a committee.
Yeah, that's correct.
I think we've already assumed we've gathered that information already here in this body. We know that the chair is not following the directives of this body and is assuming powers not delegated to him by any of our governing documents. And as unfortunate as that is, and as dirty as this is, we need to fix that. We are either the governing body of this party or we are not.
And we respectfully disagree with each other.
And that is fine. And that, sir, is why I have raised my rightful motion to censure. Okay. And under Roberts, at this point, the censure would go to the vice chair of this body. Okay. Because this is a censure of the chair.
Before we get to that, the motion on the floor is to amend the agenda to discuss this item.
I have a point of information before that's voted on. So if this fails, how is it exactly that notice is supposed to be granted for something that's to be discussed in executive session outside of this circumstance? Because it would cause harm to the party.
Notice it as anything else. You notice it as a resolution.
As a resolution to be discussed in executive session?
Yeah, or a committee, yeah.
So the agenda would then list a resolution to be discussed in executive session? Because I don't see how that provides notice that helps anything. But it would certainly harm the party to discuss the details of the executive session discussion on the agenda in advance. And another point of order I have is that
we can help you with structuring the right language. I'm not at all opposed to you saying the chair, because it's already out there, I guarantee you. The chair isn't following the direction of the body.
That's
and you can put that on the next agenda item and notice that 3 weeks out, and then we can discuss that at the next meeting.
My motion still stands to add it to this meeting.
Mr. Chairman.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but I don't agree with you because I don't think you've got the right to change any bylaw. No matter now,
this has nothing to do with it.
Keep quiet a minute. I don't think you have the right to change any bylaw passed by this group. We are the ruling group, not you. Now, Mr. Chair, I have all respect in the world for you, but I don't support you in this situation. And I've been chair for 16 years. If my committee was passing a rule, I would stick by that rule because I don't have the right to change it. They passed it, my central committee. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thanks, Bill. Could somebody help him back to his seat? Okay, the motion on the floor is to amend the agenda. Requires 2/3 to amend the agenda. All in favor of amending the agenda?
We counted
Yeah.
a quorum and we do.
Could you please stand and raise your credential? Yeah, you can.
That's not true.
2/3 vote to amend the agenda. All in favor, please stand and raise your credential.
Point of order.
Go ahead, Kim.
We're in executive session. Do we have to leave executive session? No.
No.
To take action?
Okay, all in favor of amending the agenda to discuss this action item, please stand and raise your credential. Those opposed, please take your seats. All those opposed, please stand and raise your credential. Okay, that motion passes. The agenda will be amended. Now, would you like to make your motion, Brady?
Yes. I would like to move as dictated by Robert's rules. The language for this motion is, be it resolved that a committee of 5 be elected to investigate allegations regarding the chair regarding publishing the bylaws, documents consistent with the documents approved by, documents inconsistent with the documents approved by the State Central Committee, which, if true, cast doubt on his fitness to continue in office, and that the committee be instructed, if it concludes that the allegations are well-founded, to report resolutions covering its recommendations.
Okay, do you have a copy of that?
I do.
Can you send it to, no, Peter's not here. Can you display it on the screen?
I can send it to the secretary.
Text it to me so I can read it.
I've submitted that to the secretary.
I'm sure these 5 people will be sweet on Rob. Can you send it to me?
I would like to motion for the members of that committee, but I would like
Be
to
it
do
resolved that the
separate.
committee of 5, B, what does B mean?
That should be BE. The word
Of 5 be elected by this body to investigate allegations against the chair regarding publishing bylaw documents inconsistent with the documents approved by the State Central Committee, which, if true, cast doubt on his fitness to continue in that office, and that that the committee be instructed, if it concludes that the allegations are well-founded, to report resolutions covering its recommendations, and that this committee report to this body, the SCC. Okay. That is a majority vote. How do you recommend these 5 people be selected?
I have a recommendation of them. They can be debated and nominated by this body, but I would like to submit that separate to this. If this fails, there's no point in selecting members of the committee.
All in favor of this resolution, please stand and raise your credential. Debate this?
We're already in the mode. Your time for debate is
Does anybody want to debate before we get into this part?
Question?
Okay, go ahead.
I don't have a problem with asking for a committee, but we're telling the committee what they're supposed to decide before they meet, and I think that's unfair. Don't
telling them what to investigate.
You want him to investigate, but you're telling him what to do, what the conclusion is.
Well-founded report resolution. It says.
Anyway, that was just a question. Sorry.
If I can respond to that,
It's a Davis County standard to convict without investigating.
Just vote. If I can respond to that, Mr. Chair, the motion specifically said that if the committee concludes that the allegations are well-founded, to report resolutions to this committee.
That's fine. All in favor, please stand. Raise your credential. Those opposed, please stand and raise your credential. Bill, I think you're supposed to sit down on this one. Thank you. That motion passes.
With that, I have a recommendation for the membership of that committee, and then that's open for debate, and this body can do whatever they want with it. But I recommend that Kirby Glad, Lowell Nelson, Peter Cannon, Bill Olson, and Brad Green form the committee of 5. Kirby Glad, Lowell Nelson, Peter Cannon, Bill Olson, and Brad Green. And by my understanding of Robert's rules, if the committee adopts that recommendation, that would have Kirby Glad be the chair of the committee.
Kirby Glad, Lowell Nelson, Peter Cannon, Brad Green, who else?
That's correct.
Bill Olson. I will say I oppose Peter Cannon. He's been in the State Central Committee in Davis County and spoken against me numerous times.
Mr. Chair, are you participating in debate at this time?
So he is not unbiased as far as an investigator. He would be someone who would be very biased on this. So you can vote. You can vote to accept him. I'm just telling you that I would oppose him. Yeah, okay, so qualifications, Robert says, greatest integrity and most impartiality.
Mr.
Okay,
Chair.
Of the candidates
Mr. Chair,
today.
as chair of Davis County, I would have to disagree with what you just said about Peter Cannon.
Okay.
I would also suggest not Bill Olson, not because I don't love you, Bill, but because there have been things that have happened in this meeting. There have been things he's personally brought up. I kind of worry about the impartiality there just because of past action.
May I?
Okay, and it's nothing personal. I still love you. I think you're great. I worry if we want this to be an investigation, we have to do it with as fair and partial people as possible.
Can I make some sort of...
Mr. Chair, may I suggest...
everyone can submit names that they would like to be submitted now, so let's start submitting names.
May I suggest the 3 names be voted on, and then if that passes, that the remaining 2 be open for nomination, and if that fails, then all 5 be open for nomination?
It's open for nominations. Anybody?
All right, well, then I would like to nominate Kirby Glad, and I don't know if we're going to be voting one at a time.
We have your names. Now, someone else.
I was going to make a motion that the chair be allowed to choose at least one voice in there. Can we just leave a slot open just so you can have a voice in the process?
Okay.
I think it's
Is that
only
a motion?
fair. Sure, it's a motion. I'm motioning that.
That's debatable.
Mr.
It was
Chairman?
seconded by Abe. The motion on the floor is to allow me to select one of those individuals.
Can I make a comment on that motion? In a jury, neither side gets a say, a friendly party.
Hold on. You guys are going to be the judge, jury, and executioner.
No.
In this.
I'm just saying, in an impartial decision-making body, I'm just commenting on the idea of one side gets one, then the other side gets one, and it doesn't make sense in the practice of decision-making.
So you're speaking against that motion.
I'm speaking against that motion.
Point of order, Mr. Chair.
Would you like to speak for or against that motion?
I have a point of order. The chair probably shouldn't chair something where he's getting to decide. I would move that we have a chair pro tem for this discussion so that you may participate, specifically, especially in the instance where they're asking for you to nominate someone.
Okay.
Impartiality is critical.
It's all a vote that's going to decide this. It's not me. Yeah, go ahead.
In order to have an impartial committee that one people aren't choosing, I would suggest we put names in the hat, people who would like to serve on the committee, and draw 5 names from that hat.
Okay. There's a second motion. The first motion on the floor is to allow the chair, and then we'll get you, well, it's the second motion, so we'll address Don's first. The motion on the floor from Don Guyman is to allow names to be drawn from a hat.
And I would like to make an amendment to that motion.
Okay, go ahead.
Which would be that if there are 5 members to this committee, that at least 2 of them be women. In other words, we pull out names until we have at least 2 female names on the committee.
Okay, the
Chair,
modification to that amendment. There's a motion on the floor, Brady.
My motion was never addressed. I did motion for the 5 people, and that was never voted on. Right, I understand, but my motion was never voted on.
Well, hold on a second here, because you nominated 5 people. That's a motion. We've accepted those 5 people into the nomination. What other actions do you need done with your motion?
That was a motion that those be the 5 on the committee. So that was later discussed to nominate names instead, but my motion was never voted on.
Second.
Okay. Okay, the motion was to have those 5, and then other people started adding other names, and the discussion ensued on that. So we can start adding names and continuing to add names to that before we deal with that motion.
We've had a lot of different talk about directions, but we haven't actually taken a vote on what we're doing yet. So I think we need to vote on how we're going to nominate this committee rather than just take suggestions and run with it.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we lay this on the table.
What's that?
I move we lay this on the table. This motion.
Postpone, definitely.
He does not have the floor. Bill, you need the floor.
You wish to kill it or postpone definitely to the next meeting?
Postpone indefinitely.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
There's business on the floor. You cannot motion for postponement.
Yeah, you can, but we got 4 motions out there. Hang on a second. Let me get these in the order that they're supposed to be.
Yeah, she really shouldn't. I'm okay with whatever the committee wants to do. It just needs to be what we decide. I'm not trying to strong on this. I just want it to be acted.
Okay. Okay, here's where we're going. So the motion or the discussion about out of a hat, I don't believe it was a motion, so that can be brought up at a later time. The next one that we're going to discuss, walking this back again, is that the chair be allowed to select one individual. That's debatable. Do you want to debate that, or are you ready to vote? Okay, so you're ready to vote. All in favor of allowing the chair to pull one out of the hat, or name one of those, to appoint a representative on the committee? That's seconded. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, say no.
No, whatever it is. Mr. Chair.
Go.
Mr. Chair.
Mr.
Chair.
Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, can we adjourn out of an executive session?
Adjourn from the executive session?
Can we adjourn the meeting? I move we
it's
adjourn.
It's the body's decision, so.
Okay. It's a privileged motion, so it needs to be voted on.
Yeah, so the motion on the floor is to come out of executive session. All in favor, please say aye.
There's a motion. There's already a motion on the floor, Mr. Chair.
Are you? Are we rising from executive session, Bill, or are we adjourning the meeting?
He's talking to his wife.
Okay, the motion is to adjourn the meeting. All in favor of adjournment, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say nay.
Nay.
Okay, the noes have it. We're not adjourned. The last one, allow the chair to appoint. It was too close for me to determine. All in favor, please stand and raise your credential.
Mr. Chair, there was a motion on the floor.
We're going back to that. We'll get to that one. We'll get to that one. The 5 people, we'll get to that.
That was the motion.
What are we voting on? The motion right now is, there was a motion on the floor which was seconded to allow the chair to appoint 1 member of that committee. All in favor, please stand up and raise your credential.
Point of order. Isn't the motion Brady's motion that we should be voting on right now?
No, we'll go back to that motion right after this vote. So
Well,
all in favor?
Wait, can you explain that to me? Because that was not an amendment to the motion. It was a totally separate motion.
Incidental motion. Okay. So all in favor of that, please stand and raise your credential. Of allowing the chair to appoint 1 individual to this committee. Of course you do. And I won't appoint you. Thanks. Have your seats. All opposed, please stand and raise your credential. Okay, it's a lynching that fails. The next motion is to approve those 5, elect those 5. Is it elect through? He nominated 5, but then someone started throwing out other ideas in there. So
can I make more? Okay. Can I make my?
Okay, his motion was to elect 5 members. Then he recommended those 5.
Can I make a motion? My motion that we we have volunteers and put names in the hat and choose 5 people from randomly.
Do we have that much time today?
Choose 5 members randomly, 2 of which shall be female. Or not, whatever. Just
take your seat, Don.
Whatever.
Point of order. Our chairman really should not be chairing this portion of the meeting where it's about him and making all these comments. I'd like to make a motion that our vice chair chair this portion of the meeting.
Motion on the floor now is to have the vice chair chair this portion of the meeting. I don't need to. What's that? Majority vote. All in favor of Kara conducting this portion of the meeting, please.
Point of information, Mr. Chairman, if Kara wants to speak on this issue, then she can yield the opportunity to conduct.
All in favor of Kara, so thanks. All opposed to Kara chairing this portion of the meeting? I think the will of the body is they don't want me to chair the meeting, so Kara, you have it.
I'm not going to be as nice as Rob, so. 4:30. Where are we at? Yes. And then we had a motion from Dawn to.
Wait, I have a question. How can
Right.
The motion that passed was to elect the committee, but now you're saying you get to appoint the entire committee and we can't take nominations. I don't see how that works.
You can vote down anything I suggest, so that's not me doing anything.
And so are we going to vote on Bob or Dawn's motion now?
Well,
Okay, we're going to vote on Dawn's motion now to put names in a hat. Interested people. Yes, wasn't it Helen? Didn't you second? Who seconded it? Dawn.
I'm sorry. I would like to speak against that motion.
Ben.
say, I was not. Peter was the one who was trained. I was not trained on this. Don't look at me. Peter was the one who was. Right. Peter was the one who was shown how to do it by the IT guy.
Without objection, I'm sorry. Without objection, can we bring Peter back in here to fix the sound system? No objection. Will we? Okay.
What was the motion?
To bring Peter in to fix the sound system and then step out. But there was an objection, so we'll have to have a motion to bring Peter Simons. We'll have to have a vote. This is why I'm not going to be chair, everybody. So if you could just give me 1 second.
Point of order. This is an executive session. There are people in this room that are not authorized to be here.
I agree. And if we want to turn the sound system off outside, we need them to come in. So we're trying to have a vote to get that to happen.
Point of clarification?
Yes, ma'am.
Information. Is your proposal that Peter come in, fix the system, and leave?
Yes.
Okay. That needs to be clarified,
Yes.
I think.
We would need somebody, Peter or somebody, to come in, but we need a vote.
Can I give you a point of information?
Yes, sir,
Okay.
please.
A point of information. Peter is the only person who has been trained by the IT person who of the facility on how to operate the speakers. So if you vote against this, there's nobody to turn the speakers
So
off.
if you want the speakers off outside, we're going to need to have Peter come in and turn them off. We need a vote of approval to do that. Please, all in favor? Any opposed?
Okay, let's get it done.
Would someone get Peter? Yes.
In addition to that, apparently Carice is saying that Daryl Acumen has resigned and he is now the chair of the Black Assembly and is now credentialed. Is that okay?
If Daryl resigned, the acting chair would be the vice chair of that organization.
He's not credentialed.
I understand. Oh, please, please, please. Give me a break, guys. I never wanted to be chair. I'm just give me just a second, okay? Carrie, can he be credentialed in the meeting? If we have a official resignation, then he is now the chair.
You don't find that odd that he resigns during this?
My opinions really have to be invalid right now.
I'd say that's very questionable and...
Before we deal with all these other motions, have we resolved the audio problem?
Ladies and gentlemen, the sound is off. Peter's back out of the room. Is that correct? Okay.
Point of order?
Yes, point of order. Thank you, Janice.
Didn't we have a credential report of how many were credentialed?
Yes.
Okay, then how can we have a credential accepted after that report when we're in the middle of executive session?
I have been in and out of the room, so please tell me, did we ever close credentialing today?
We did not.
Okay. We didn't close credentialing. The parliamentarian just confirmed that we only typically do that with an election. I'd be happy to have you all just vote on these types of things, but I don't even know because this is why I'm not the chair, but you put me in this position, so please work with me here. Okay? I don't know what you want me to do about that. We have a man who has been credentialed because he is now the chair of that auxiliary.
Madam Chair, point of information as it will affect my vote moving forward.
Yes, sir.
When did Mr. Acumen submit his resignation? Because I believe that is relevant to this discussion. Thank you.
Well, do we have the answer to his question?
Point of information. Is it a written, was it written or was it
somebody,
verbal?
who actually received the resignation? Would you mind going to the microphone and clearing any questions that we may have? Thank you, Chairman.
Madam Chairwoman, At 16:30 today, I have a text from Daryl Acumen. I have officially resigned. Also at 4:36 today, I received an email confirmation.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I'd like to move that we accept the credential of the Black Assembly's new chair.
Thank you. We have a motion on the floor by our secretary, Lisa Shepard, to accept the credentialing of our new chair of the Black Assembly. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? I feel like I'm in church. Okay, now can we move forward? The motion. Yes, yes. Carice, you are a full voting member. Welcome to the great club. The motion on the floor, if I'm keeping up to speed, and I haven't eaten a lot today, is Don Guyman, his motion to draw 5 names.
If I may,
Yes,
I believe the
Brady,
motion
please.
is actually to resolve the audio. Has that been resolved?
That
yet?
has been taken care of.
So, okay, so we're good there? Okay, great.
I know, I keep falling behind too. I get it.
Point of order.
Yes.
How is it that we can leave a motion on the floor and move to another motion? Brady's motion has not been dealt with entirely, and yet we're moving on to another motion to
I
draw
think
names from a hat. How do we do
My
that?
understanding is it's a substitution to Brady's motion. He wanted to do 5 names, and it was the method that they're trying to substitute now, and we have to vote whether we approve of those substitutions, if that's acceptable.
Well, I mean, it's a substitute motion, so nobody said that. So.
Madam Chair, may I speak in favor of Don's motion?
They're substituting my motion.
Yes, the motion right now that we'll be having people speak for and against is Don's motion to have names put in a hat and to be drawn from the hat. And I recognize Gina Worthen, if that's not going to upset. Is that good? Gina Worthen will speak in favor of it.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to speak in favor of Don's motion. I would like you guys to think about something. If you do a hand-picked number of people and put on this committee, it's going to look to the public and to the delegates and to everybody else that it was a hand-picked group, and if they come out against Rob, it's going to look like it was a railroad. I think the best way to do this, to be fair to everyone, is to randomly pick names of those who are willing to serve on that committee. I think that's the fairest way to do it, and to have 2 women on that as well. So I would vote in favor of that.
So can I?
Well, hang on. I know everyone's getting a little giddy. It's getting late. We already discussed the 2 women, and
Did we do that already?
That was
okay,
dropped.
then I remove that part of what I said.
Thank you.
So
Thank you. So we're back to Brady. Yes.
So yeah, I think that I can agree with the points, the concerns raised, but I don't think that this body is incapable of selecting members of the committee. I don't think it needs to be at random. I think we can nominate and elect just like in any other circumstance. I don't think it's necessary to have a random selection of people to investigate a circumstance.
Okay, thank you. Is there someone against? Well, is someone for Don's motion? Is there anyone for Don's motion of drawing 5 names? Brad, thank you.
Fred Cox, Salt Lake County. The advantage of randomly drawing is if we do not want to make this committee, whose instructions are already been determined, to look like a lynch mob, then it would be good to have it picked randomly, because I don't know that any of us is totally unbiased. If we actually want to solve the problem, we need to fix it so a secretary or the bylaws chair has the authority under our bylaws to submit directly to the lieutenant governor's office so that the chair doesn't block it. That's another issue that we can't solve today. But that's, if we're going to have a committee and they're going to investigate, then it either needs to be random or we need to purposely pick people that are unbiased, and I'm not sure that we have.
That's another comment for. Is there one against Don's motion?
I'd like to make a motion.
I'd like to speak against it.
God, you guys are making this really awkward for me. Rob spoke first, and then we'll go to our secretary.
Motion I would like to make is that we go to a mediator of a panel of judges and mediate this issue to adjudicate this, not in a court of law, but slightly short of that, so that we can come to a resolution. no matter who gets selected to this committee, I can look around the room and I can pull up Facebook posts and show that, and it will be a lynching according to everybody out there. And so it's something that offers an option for the people in this room to show a impartial, neutral. We can hire a mediator and accomplish it in those manner.
Well, we have a motion on the floor of Dawn's, and now we have another motion, and this is over my pay grade, everybody. So give me just 1 second, if you will. Thank you. Okay, and he can do that. The parliamentarian has recommended that Rob's motion is a higher motion than Dawn's, and so we can higher in the fact that it's going to go to a higher body as far as getting a mediator. Did I guys, that's why I'm not the chair. Come on,
Madam Vice Chair.
Just 1 second. Brady made a main motion. Dawn made a substitute main motion. The chair made a motion to commit. I'm sorry, Rob Anderson made a motion to commit. He's the chair, guys. And he made a motion to commit, okay? And because of that, it's a higher ranking motion. Does that... And so if that's a higher ranking motion, if this higher ranking motion in terms resolves the concern, is that an option to the body?
I'd like to speak against it.
And that's fine. Go for it.
So there is no higher body than this body in regard to the rules and bylaws of this body. We control our own. We are an all-powerful entity of the Utah Republican Party. We are not subordinate to any other party with regard to our own internal processes and procedures.
Well, except the court of law, which he said that he wouldn't want to go to the court of law, but a mediator perhaps.
I'm arguing that is inappropriate for them to mediate our own rules for our own internal matter.
Okay, that's fine.
Call the question.
Is there somebody for Rob's debate?
Call the question.
You have to be recognized.
Was there some? We never got to Lisa, but we also need to have someone for Rob. So we had someone against his. We haven't had someone for it, and we also have Lisa
I'll
waiting.
speak for, I guess, because.
Thank you.
Okay, so my concern is that we are all, we all have biases. So my concern is that whoever gets put into this committee is going to be biased one way or another. We just voted to create the committee. Therefore, how can we not be against whatever the issue is going to be, right? We're going to be voting on to investigate him. So we're already biased. I think this needs to be done by an outside group, because even when we put the 5 people in, either we like him or we don't, or whatever the issue is going to be, we're biased. I feel like we need to do something where an outside group comes in and can investigate this, and not any of us, even if it's the 5 names in the hat or whatever it is, whoever gets picked.
Okay, is there anyone?
Speak against, Madam Chair?
An against over here, Bill?
Yes. Robert's Rules of Order, page LII, under Principles Underlying Parliamentary Law, states, fundamentally, under the rules of parliamentary law, a deliberative body is a free agent, free to do what it wants to do with the greatest measure of protection to itself and of consideration for the rights of its members. We don't need an outside panel of judges to look at this. We are the governing body.
I appreciate your argument. Do we have another argument? Is there somebody for the motion that the Chair Rob Anderson made? I'm sorry, I heard a call to question.
Call the question.
Hold on 1 second. Hold on. We have someone at the microphone there, and someone on the microphone here. I was listening to other conversations. I don't know who spoke up first. The debate right now is for. Does someone have something that's for the motion? Okay, we have.
So according to the Robert's Rules of Orders that were just read, we're a free agent. We don't have to have an outside person handle this, but we can choose to have an outside person handle this. So if we think that we are all clearly very emotional about this, that's the motion. The motion is, let's hand this off to a mediator, someone outside. Even if we think we can be unbiased, we need the appearance of an unbiased decision maker. So we as free agents can choose to have a mediator do this for us, and I think we should.
Okay. Is there anybody against the motion?
I will speak against the motion. I called the question, but if you need an against, I'm standing in front of you as the audit chair. Our party has not had the funds to perform the constitutionally required audit for the last 2 years. We need $20,000. A panel of judges to mediate this issue will cost way beyond $20,000. These ladies and gentlemen do not come cheaply, and it will cost us a lot. We have the ability to do that. We are a party that cannot afford to pay for a constitutionally mandated audit. It would be irresponsible to commit to tens of thousands of dollars on this issue.
Okay. I appreciate that.
Like
the next one will be for.
Point of information.
I'm sorry. Yes.
Point of information.
Yes, Brady.
Where the party has already, the body's already voted to elect the committee, to take this to some other body now would require 2/3 vote. Is that correct? To
That's
override.
my understanding.
Yeah. So with that, I would like to call the question.
Okay. I'm going to recognize that call to question. And now we need to have a vote to end debate. So if you are in favor of ending debate, please stand. Thank you. Please have a seat. Everybody who would like to continue debate, please stand. All right. Debate has ended on this. The summary was already, I believe you already, I'm sorry. Now we're going to go right to the vote for Rob's motion to send this to a mediator. So if you want to vote in favor of sending this to a mediator to be discussed and dealt with in front of a panel of mediators, please stand.
Could you clarify that motion? Wasn't it judges? Is that what he had said?
Outside mediators is what he said.
Not a panel of judges?
Well,
that's what I heard him say.
You know, as a foster parent, when we say judges, we say mediators. Yeah, so I would say that they would be a mediator.
I have a question too, because I'm confused.
Yes.
We already voted to establish a committee, so this would be in addition to the committee that we haven't peopled yet. Because this would be in place of. I didn't hear that as part of the motion.
Yes. Okay. So, if you would like to, instead of creating our committee today right here, if you would like to send this to a panel of mediators to be dealt with, instead of having a committee created right here, please stand.
Can I make an amendment? Can I propose an
amendment? Not at this time, I'm sorry.
I think there's a fix to this, is what I'm saying.
All right, and thank you. You may have a seat. Please take your seat. If you do not want to send this to a panel of mediators, please stand. Thank you. The motion has failed.
Now can I make an amendment?
I've been trying to gain the
floor. I'm sorry. You know, our secretary has been standing there wanting to speak. I recognized her, and then we had, so would you please?
Thank you. I would like a point of personal privilege if this is the appropriate motion that I would make. I recall about a year ago, there was an investigation done on me, the secretary, for amending to put some capitalization in the document. And we went through this whole thing. There was one person appointed by the chair. There was no committee that said that we want to do this investigation. And then the chair had the staff send out an email to everybody in this body, the recommendation for censure for appropriately doing capitalization, fixing some capitalization issues. So I just wanted to point a personal privilege. I mean, this is kind of insane to me because I didn't change documents. And so I just wanted to bring that up. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to go to Brady. Where did Chris go? I thought Brady was at the mic. It's not a substitute. It's Brady's motion.
Okay. Thank you.
You're dealing with a rookie here. Come on.
Mercy. So my question is, I'm just trying to follow all of this as well. And so my question is, can we present something that would be happy to all sides? Meaning, from what I understand, the issue is that the bylaws have not been posted that are supposed to be posted. If Rob does post those, would that settle everybody down? Now, so the next question would be, if he posts those and in his own defense includes a letter that explains I'm posting these because of this, but this is I don't agree with this decision. Is that even an option to try to find a middle ground here?
I'd like to speak to that.
So,
that's just a Band-Aid on a problem.
Okay. Okay, we still have Don Guyman's motion on the floor. Am I correct, Don?
Yes. Can I speak to my motion?
I believe you can. I'm going to allow it.
You know, once again, going back to my conversation about due process that we had before, you know, we can't. We need to ensure that our process is viewed as fair to not only Rob but also to the members of the body, and we don't want this to look like we're out there trying to run anyone off the rail or do whatever we have. We need to be fair, and if we can't be fair, if we're so intent on out to get people, then we've really lost our way. I'll be honest, I'm really troubled by the conversation we've had here today. We need to be fair to everyone. And quite frankly, outside of, you know, this is probably the fairest way I can see for us to go, and for basically also for public relations process. So, you know, I care what the public thinks. You know, a lot of us don't care what, don't seem to care what the public, it matters. Because they see us as the governing body of the Utah Republican Party. And if we're going to do that, we have to be seen as fair to everyone in our party. So to me, this is probably the fairest way to go. Thank you.
Okay. So at this point, we can take debate on Brady's motion and Don's motion. We need to decide which way we're going to go. You have two motions before you right now.
Simultaneously? Don't we have to vote on the substitute before we vote on the...
It's ridiculous. What substitute? What's the substitute motion?
Mm-hmm.
Has it been called?
Okay. Right. No, I see what you're saying. Okay, so we have a substitute motion and we have Brady's motion. We have to vote on them. And go ahead, Brady. Go ahead.
If we can deal with both motions simultaneously, then I would like to amend my motion. Okay. So I would like to amend my motion to appoint Kirby Glad as the chair of this committee and then take further nominations by whatever other process the body wishes.
Thank you for the motion. We had a second. Who was a second? Thank you. Okay.
Okay, so that...
Are you withdrawing your motion, Don? No. So it's a subsequent. It's another motion. So it's an amendment. It's a,
make it again.
And so they're. I mean, yeah. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, but I'm doing it all wrong.
We accept Kirby Glad, because I view Kirby as fair, and then we choose the other 4 people via a drawing. No.
Same people.
Okay.
But
I would
Madam
like
Chair.
to divide that.
Madam Chair, may
What?
I also make another suggestion?
Yes, of course. I will hear all things.
Okay. I would suggest also that those people that are pulled out of the hat should be asked if they can be fair. And if they don't feel like they can be impartial and fair, that they should recuse themselves from it. That's all.
Thank you for the recommendation.
Madam Chair, may I make a suggestion?
Request for information?
There seems to be some agreement on the idea of having Kirby Glad as the chair. I would like us to vote on that and then consider other things so we can actually get one thing accomplished.
Okay, without objection, can Kirby Glad be the chair of this? Is there any objection? Is there any objection?
Said that he's willing to be on the committee.
Is that objection back there? Or no. Shh. I gotta have my whistle here, guys. Sorry. Crease, is that an objection? I'm sorry. Okay, we have objection.
Okay.
So we would have to vote.
Right.
We would need to vote. It would be a majority. So if you would like to see Kirby Glad as the chair of this committee, however we would decide to vote for this committee, he would be the chair. Please stand. Kirby would be the chair of the committee. The committee's not picked after that. It's just the chair. Yes, the motion's before us. We have to work out those things later. Okay, thank you. Please sit. Thank you so much. If you object to having Kirby be the chair at this point, please stand. Thank you. The motion passes.
Request for information?
Yes, sir.
About Don's proposal. Whose name goes in the hat?
That's the suggestion is volunteers. Okay.
So to the question of people having to declare their fairness factor, I would suggest that only those who are willing to take the oath of office before they put their name in the hat, they do that before their name even goes in the hat. So we don't have to vote and then withdraw. That's how it is.
That's a motion.
That's a motion.
I would second that.
Incidental motion right there by Helen.
I would second that.
So if you would like, thank you, we have a second. So if you are willing to be on this committee and have your name put in a hat, you'll need to swear.
No, we have to vote on my motion first,
well,
right?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
To swear
Okay.
an oath of office to do so. So yes. Yes, to be impartial. So that is the motion on the floor. Would anyone like to debate that motion? I do know that that's the next thing I say. Would anybody like to debate?
I would like to propose a substitute or an amendment, whichever is in order.
I don't know.
Let
me hear.
I would like to add to that as names are selected, that the body ratify each name individually.
No, then that totally defeats the point.
That's my motion.
Okay, that's his subsequent motion. Just give me 1 second. All right, Brady, you're going to have to be out of order on that. My apologies, but we need to vote on the swearing them in first, and then we can get to that if we get to that point. Okay. Moving along, everybody. Do we have debate on Helen Watt's motion? Her motion is to have people, before they put their name in a hat, swear an oath to be impartial.
To be fair.
And be fair. Was it fair, impartial? Yeah.
I'd like to call the question.
Impartial.
I'd like to call the question, Madam Chair.
Called to question by Janice without objection. Oh, we have.
No, I'll object.
Okay, we're going to vote to end debate on Helen Watts's motion. Okay? So those who wish to end debate, please stand. Okay, thank you. Please have a seat. Those who wish to continue debate, please stand. To continue debate, please stand. Okay, the motion passes. So, the motion right now before us is Helen Watts's motion to have a swear-in if you're going to have your name put in the hat to be on this committee. Yes, please. We have another amendment. Please come to the microphones. I apologize.
Aren't we past the amendment time? Yeah,
we're past the question.
So I'm sorry, Crease. Give me 1 second. Okay. The amendment is not in order at this time. That was my one of many mistakes here. I apologize, Grace. So we're going to vote now on Helen Watts' amendment. Is that correct? Is everybody, are we there? The motion to have everybody swear in if they want to put their name in the hat to be on the committee, right? Is that clear? Okay, please stand if you would like to do that. You have to swear on a Bible or something like that. I'm not sure the details before you get your name in a hat. Yeah. Okay. Okay, thank you. Please be seated. All those opposed to the motion, please stand. Okay, the motion passes. Whew. Okay. Grayson, can I acknowledge you now?
Yes, please.
You ready?
Please, thank you.
Thank you.
Grayson Massey, Utah College Republicans. We have an executive committee. We have committee chairs. How many active committees do we have? We have Constitution and Bylaws, the Audit Committee. How many other committees do we have?
A lot.
Why can't we select people from those committees to be on that? To be on
well,
this
they're
committee?
Not all
Why
in this
can't
room
we
right
select
now.
executive?
Yeah, and they're all in the SEC. So basically, it's just people from this body
who
are on other
members
committees.
of the executive committee who are also, we have auxiliary chairs, and I'm not saying just myself, but we have tons of people to pick from.
Yeah, we do, and they can all be in this, but they have to be here today to get their name in the hat and swear it in,
and I really don't want to keep fighting over this. So.
Can I make another substitute motion that might get over?
I mean, it's your life, man.
But I've already got everyone mad at me here. So, like, if you don't want to pick names, let's do this. Let's have the C&B committee pick a member, the audit committee pick a member,
I'm already hearing
and the
the
county
nays.
chairs pick a member.
Okay. He made a motion. Are you withdrawing it, Dawn? Are we going to move forward?
I'd like to make a motion.
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion.
Go
I'd like
ahead.
to move that the executive committee members that are the congressional district, there's 8 of them. I'd like to move that they are on this committee. I guess there was 5, so we could pick 5 from there. But that's what I would move. We already elected a chair, so that's Kirby, and then we could have those people. If the body would allow us to do that many instead, it wouldn't be 5, then it would be
You want
9.
Kirby to be the chair. I just want to clarify. You want Kirby to be the chair, and then you want to have all of those executive committee members who are representatives of their congressional districts.
Yes, that's what I
to
propose
be on
because
the
they've been
committee.
elected already by this body.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor.
A parliamentary inquiry.
My ride's leaving, guys.
So I'm just curious, is the vote threshold that would be required for that, where we've already voted to have a 5-member committee, would we need 2/3 to make it a 9-member committee now? It's okay. Well, there's 8 members of the executive committee that would be in addition to Kirby.
So,
Okay, so that would be out of order then?
Lisa, you wanted 8, right? Because and that would be out of order right now. But thank you for the suggestion.
I move that we move to anyone in this room who can take that and swear that to put their name in the hat, put their name in the hat right now, and that we postpone adjournment or consideration until after that is done and that vote has been had.
Okay, so we have a second. Is there any debate? Yeah, so my understanding is, let me try to repeat that back. You want anybody who can take the oath right now, put their name in the hat to go ahead and do it right now, and then clarify?
And then we draw from that.
And then draw from the hat.
And we do all of that and accomplish it before we have any consideration for adjournment. Let's get this done today so we don't have to kick it down the road. We
can't stop someone from saying adjourn. We'd have to vote on that if they say it.
Well, and that's part of my motion is to say, let's get this done now while we're here.
Yes. Yes.
That would be a motion to set a time for adjournment after this concludes.
Yeah, we have 50 minutes left. Right, it's 5:10, so yeah.
That was seconded.
Okay, we have a second. Is there debate? Anyone who wants to speak against that? We have a.
Madam Chair, I move we definitely postpone this until the next meeting.
Okay, we had a motion on the floor. from Joe Levi. He wanted to do that right now. You got to swear yourself in.
All right.
Okay, we've got
I
lots of
withdraw.
seconds,
All right.
and then we don't do anything else until we accomplish this. Okay, so we have a call to the question. Thank you for coming to the microphone. So we need to do a vote now. To end debate. Yes, we want to do it without objection. Okay, without objection, the question's been called. Debate is over, and we're going to take a vote. Okay. The vote is to take all the names of people who will swear in, put the names in a hat, and draw them out, and then we can continue forward. All in favor, please stand. Thank you. All opposed, please sit. I'm sorry, please sit. All opposed, please stand. Okay, thank you. The motion passes. So now we need to get names.
Madam
We
Chair,
need paper and names.
I would propose we just have the people that are interested come onto the stage and have their names to the secretary.
Yes, great. If you're interested, please come up here to the stage.
Madam Chair, point
Yes,
of order.
sir. Yes, sir.
Willie Billings, before I believe he had to leave, said he would be willing to serve on this committee, and I think he has a pretty impeccable reputation with all sides of this committee. But I don't know that he's here to physically put his own name in. I'm just asking if
Okay.
he's being excluded
He is unable
from that.
to swear that oath, so he can't put his name in.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, that was a question he asked, and from my understanding, because he's not here to swear in, he's unavailable to do it based on what was passed. We would have to take another vote to do that.
So this has to be a Davis County hit squad. Where do you gather that? There's only one member on the committee from Utah County.
Hey, guys, I'm the chair, and I'd like to say something for just a minute. Does anybody have any objections to Willie Billings' name being put in? You can say no. You can, okay, I was just asking. Thank you. Yeah. Okay, so we're getting our names over here. Jimmy, did you make a motion to do that, or was it just?
It was a question.
Okay.
But I can make a motion. But that would seem to be in violation of the motion that's already passed. They have to be here to swear in.
That's what we voted.
So I think, right.
Hey, Craig's got a hat.
I can still make that motion?
That would be a motion to reconsider.
Yeah. Do you want, go ahead.
All right, Madam Chair.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can everybody decorum, please? Just one moment. Just one moment. Yeah, that's fine. But give me just 1 second. We do have someone at the microphone to make a motion. We need to hear him while you're doing this quietly.
I did vote for it.
Jimmy.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
All right. Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to reconsider allowing Willie Billings' name to be put in to allow his name to be put in.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. We need people to speak for and against.
Contingent upon him.
Right. I mean, contingent on him being willing to take
Yes.
whatever oath
Yes.
you're coming up with.
Yes. I understand. So, ladies and gentlemen, one moment, please. I don't care. That's fine. But 1 second. Hand her your ballot if you'd like. But listen, we have a motion on the floor. We need to acknowledge, and we're gonna vote. Please debate. He made a motion to have Willie Billings' name officially considered to be put in the hat. That was a without objection, and it was voted against. But then he made it a motion, so we actually have to vote on it, and we have a second. Okay. Ladies, of all the times to not have my whistle, guys, you're making me embarrassed. Okay, did we have a call to the question here?
Yes. Did we have any debate first?
Nobody debated it. No debate it. So,
Call the question.
call to the question is, and please think about this. With the question, the motion on the floor is to add Willie Billings' name in there, and we're going to have an official vote on that. So if you are willing to have, yes, to add his name in there into the box, please say aye.
Aye.
If you oppose having Willie Billings' name add to the box, please say no.
Nay.
Okay, thank you. It did not pass. Thank you. I'm fine with that. Is that an official motion? You got to get to the mic. Yes. It's empty right now.
I thought the oath was I do solemnly swear that I am up to no good.
Chris, do I need to hug you?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
I don't know. Does anyone know where Abe Young went? Did he step outside?
Madam Chair.
Can somebody step out there and ask Abe to come in if he's in the hallway there?
Madam Chair, I actually have a motion that we select two individuals to each draw two names from the bucket, one from one side, Celeste, and one from the other side. I'm open to who would like to draw names as a matter. I couldn't hear you, I'm sorry. Okay, I withdraw that motion because as I'm being informed, we're going to have two from the vice chair and two from the treasurer drawn.
If
Okay.
the treasurer is in here?
If the treasurer is in here. If the treasurer is not, could we default
that?
to Celeste?
Point of information.
Just draw the names.
Point of information.
Yes, Kim Coleman is at the microphone,
Okay,
please.
there was a reference just made to two sides. There are two sides? What would those two sides be? Would someone please define the two sides or qualify the two sides? No, define it, put it on the record.
So I didn't, I
His
withdrew,
jacket- no, he
but
left. He turned his
to
credential in.
answer that,
Okay. The parliamentarian and I are going to draw names out, just right here in front of everybody. Lisa, you want to come and watch? The first name is Pat Bradley. Pat, right over there. Yeah, they haven't. We didn't quite do that. Okay, so once we withdraw them, you're going to have to pledge if you're willing. And if you're not willing to serve, please withdraw now. Just double checking. Good point, sir. Second name, Nels Beckstrad. No, we're one for me. They said two. We just.
You mean only women are drawing?
It's a tough day for men. I get it. Lisa Shepard.
Names from a hat was the will of the body.
That's the hat.
You're right. It's out of order. If we don't know what a hat, get them in.
So, wait, can we just ask if there's an objection? Okay, well, we'll read the last name, and then last name is Jennifer Jensen. That's the four names, plus Kirby is chair, but issue was brought up. Lisa Shepard's one of the names, and the parliamentarian recommended that we make sure there's no objections because she's a state party officer.
That creates a bad position for her to be in.
Yes. Yeah, I think we should.
If I had been drawn, would there have been objection as well? I thought the body ruled names from a hat rather than selecting based on any other criteria.
Right. That's
for the
right.
will of the body. I also motioned that we ratify everybody that was selected, and that failed. So I think that we should go with what we said, and that's the motion that I make, is that we adopt our original intent.
So we have four names: Jennifer Jensen, Lisa Shepard, Pat Bradley, and Nels Beckstrad. And they will have to take an oath. Yes, can we vote on Lisa Shepard because there was an objection to that?
No.
Well.
Point of order. No. No.
Okay. Okay, let's just vote really. Okay. This is a very, very awkward. I don't know what to do. Right.
It is, Madam Chair, I would suggest that it is out of order to suggest ratification on a single member after it was already failed to ratify all of them.
Yeah. Yeah. And I understand that.
Madam Chair, this item of business having concluded, I move that we move on to the next item of business.
We need to have the oath taken, and I don't really know how to do that. Okay, can we have the four members come up here? Yes, I'm sorry. Please. Okay, we've got Chris Jenkins. He has a question. Point of clarification from Chris.
My question would be, I would think, not that I don't think that Lisa would be impartial, because I think she would be great. I would think if she's at a point where she wouldn't want to do it at this point, and she did put her name in. However, if she wanted to withdraw at this time, just give her an opportunity. If you're okay, I just was helping.
Okay, she chooses not to withdraw. Thank you. Okay, let's please come up. I need Jennifer Jensen, Pat, thank you, and Nels.
Can't that be done outside of the meeting?
The motion was to do it right here, right now, before going on to any other business. Well, Kirby's not here. Yeah. Please come over here. Please come over to the microphone.
So what are we saying? What do you want us to
that you pledge to be objective and impartial?
I believe the motion was that they pledged to be fair in the proceedings.
I pledge to be fair in the proceedings.
Okay, do you guys hear? This is what you voted for, so please watch it go down. Come on over. Pat Bradley.
I promise to be fair in the proceedings and to be objective.
Jennifer Jensen.
I pledge to be fair and, what was the other word? Impartial.
Nels.
I promise to be fair and objective too.
Hey, thank you. We have our committee. Yes, we're still in executive session. The next item on
Madam
the
Chair,
agenda.
I move that we adjourn from executive session to a regular session.
All right,
Rise
we
from
have a
executive
motion to
session.
rise from executive session. We have a second. All in favor? Oh, thank you. It passes. Okay, now we are out of executive session. People in the hallway can come back in. Oh, I'm sorry. Who objects from executive session? I appreciate you keeping me on there, man. Yes. Right. So at this time, at 5:27, we are rising from executive session.
Madam Chairman,
Just one moment, please. One moment, please.
I haven't got time, anyone, Chair.
And we have... No, we came out. We came out of it. We have several items from executive session to report. If you would just give me 1 second, we'll get those reported, and then we have someone at the microphone. A committee of 5 has been formed to do an investigation, the matter brought before us in executive session. Those members will be Kirby Gladys, Chair, Pat Bradley, Jennifer Jensen, Nels Beckstred, and Lisa Shepard. Okay? Yeah, I said Kirby. Yeah. Okay, now we
Madam
have
Chair.
Bill at the...
Madam Chair.
Madam Chairman, I move we adjourn.
There's a motion to adjourn on the floor with a second. All in favor? All opposed? No. Oh, I'm sorry. It fails. But thank you. Tina? Yes?
Could I ask a question? If by some chance there's a vacancy, how would we fill that?
Thank you.
We don't have that set up at this time.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
I wanted to move that one more name be drawn as an alternate. Well, okay, so if someone couldn't from the beginning.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
But thank you for trying.
We do have a quorum.
Well, I'm thinking we have 40, but if we can count, if you'd like.
People just bolted.
Okay.
I'm ready to go.
Okay, our next item of business is the county party monies. That is Tina
I withdraw my
Horlocker.
motion to quorum call.
Well, you didn't actually call it, but I appreciate that. I'm on top of this now. It's Tina.
All right, so in June 2014, the State Central Committee voted to withhold all checkbook money from the counties to help fund the lawsuit. That was in June of 2014. In November of 2017, the officers voted to take the monies that had been set aside by check-a-buck and move it over. In November 2017, the officers voted to move check-a-buck money over to the operating expenses account. In January of 2018, the State Central Committee entered into a contract with Dave Bateman to fund the lawsuit. In August, at our last Central Committee meeting, Rob Craig made a motion to rescind the previous motion that was 2 years and 1 month before. This motion was...
Point of information.
I'm
Excuse
sorry,
me,
Tina has the floor.
The point of information. We are out of executive session. Is that true?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
our Rob Anderson, our chair, is here. Should he not be chairing this part of the meeting?
If he would come in, that would be.
Okay.
Yes, please go
Okay.
get him. Okay. Okay, Tina's still speaking. If we would let Tina finish, that would be so kind and generous of you all. Tina? No, that was executive session. Oh, well, that's unfortunate information. Fake news, guys. Go ahead, Tina.
Okay. All right, so do I need to go back over that? Did everybody
No,
get
you're talking
that?
about August, the August meeting, Rob
In
Craig.
August, Rob Craig made a motion to rescind the previous motion that was 2 years and 1 month prior to that. That would mean that all check-a-buck money should then be returned to the counties as if that motion had never taken place. I feel like that puts the state party in a very awkward situation because I'm sure they don't have the funds to repay the counties that money. So I would like to make a motion that the Utah GOP disperse all check-a-buck money back to the counties beginning January 1st, 2019, with the requirement to remit the money within 30 days of receiving it from the Utah State Treasurer.
I appreciate that. My only question, my understanding, and this is just from small town Morgan County. Sorry, guys in the back from Morgan County. We don't usually make motions during discussion items, so let me check if we can make a motion during discussion items. I don't know. We don't do it in my county. What's the best way to?
Thank you.
Would you be willing to put this as an item of business and make notice of it today for our next meeting that happens?
No, but what I would be willing to do is to vote to add it to the agenda as a business item. Amend the agenda to put it as a business item.
Oh, okay. I believe we can do that, right? No? Okay. So the parliamentarian saying because this was noticed as a discussion item, it's separate from Brady's because Brady's wasn't noticed at all. And so when people saw this, they saw it as a discussion item, not as an action item. So to make the change would be out of
So I
order.
think it's been made pretty clear, especially by what Lisa was reading earlier, that we have the ability to do whatever we need to do.
I believe you. Now we're going to go back, I believe, to what happened earlier in the meeting where it was you wanted to appeal the ruling of the chair, but the chair said he couldn't even allow that because it upsets the rights of those who couldn't come. So we're in a gray area for me personally.
Wouldn't you just need a 2/3 vote to move it to an action item?
That's what she's asking for, is to do a 2/3 vote to make it an action item. The parliamentarian is telling me that that's not possible.
Madam Chair, parliamentary inquiry.
No, I understand. Is Rob? Does anyone know? Is Rob still here? How many? He did officially leave. Okay.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
I would inquire as to what the difference is if an item wasn't noticed at all and can be added, and so anything can be added regardless of notice with a 2/3 vote. Why is this somehow different? This isn't the question of whether or not it's in scope, as was the question about the amendment that was noticed and then something else, because that requires separate notice from the bylaws. This is simply a motion to take action and to add that action to the agenda, and I don't see how that's any different than what I did.
I would love to speak against this whole thing before we have to adjourn.
Right.
Okay,
my understanding is because this was put on there as a discussion item, so people thought, okay, I might leave because they can't do anything on the rest of these items.
But
and now we're just changing
Madam Chair,
it on
point
them?
of information.
My item was a discussion item as well, and then was amended by 2/3 to be
Point of
action.
information, it is 5:35. We have the building until 6.
Thank you, Craig. Thank you, Craig.
So, Madam Chair, if Rob Craig was able to make the motion without that being on the agenda and noticed, I would seem like I should be able to do the same thing.
I mean, I'm not going to be chair at the next meeting, and I'm never going to be vice chair after all of this either. So I don't really, if you guys want to do that, you'd have to vote to, what I'm going to say is that we can't do it because it's not appropriate. And
Okay,
you
so
have
I
your
appeal
opportunity.
the ruling of the
Yes.
chair.
Okay. Okay. Yes.
I can also tell you that I've called nearly every county chair, except for 10. All of them are in favor of this.
Okay. So we have, you appealed the ruling of the chair, so you need to vote to uphold my ruling. Will the chair be sustained? Please, if the chair will be sustained, please vote in favor.
Pardon me,
Yes, go
Madam
ahead.
Chair.
Yes.
You, presiding officer, can't make a motion, so we'll need somebody on the floor to make that motion. I'll be happy to do it.
Which motion did I make? I'm sorry.
To appeal the ruling of the chair.
No, I was saying she did. She said she would appeal it.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah,
I second.
and so I'm saying we need to sustain that now.
That was seconded.
It was seconded, yes. So, yes. So please, yes. Does anyone want to debate, or can we vote? Okay. So please stand. Shall the chair be sustained in my ruling? Please stand if you agree. I'm not going to use the right terminology at this point. Okay, please have a seat. Please stand if you oppose my ruling. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Madam Chair, I'd like to call the question. And I will respond to what Jimmy said. I did speak with Jimmy. Jimmy was concerned about having the checkbook money returned back to the counties because he's concerned about his $27,000.
Okay. Let me
You're changing the
wait
motion.
a minute. Okay. So we just had a vote. You appealed my ruling. I don't mind. But I'm going to clarify that you did appeal my ruling, which does go against what I've been advised is proper parliamentary procedure. And it's the law. And it's the protection of she says it's the protection of the absentees, and this needs to be verbalized. And I'm fully aware, and this is on the body, that we made this decision to go this route. Thank you. Appreciate that. Okay.
So, now,
yeah, please put that in the minutes. And now, if you want to continue, just please don't let Jimmy speak for Jimmy. That would be excellent.
Okay. Well, I can speak to my conversation about Jimmy, with my conversation regarding with what I spoke with Jimmy. And Jimmy said he would be in favor. However, he has much concern over the money that is owed his party, which I completely agree. And for that reason, if that was going to inhibit his ability to get paid back, then he would not be in favor of that. However, all the other chairs that I spoke with are in favor. And that would be in the amount of 17 chairs. 10 I did not speak with.
Okay, thank you, Tina.
So what are we in discussion on this?
Wait, the
chair was, is she trying to make this an action item?
Yes.
All right, so that probably
Yes.
comes first, and then it would be discussed.
Yes.
So
she needs, I'm waiting for the motion.
I motioned to call the question.
No, you have to put it, we have to make the motion now. You overruled me, and now you have to make it an action item and not a discussion item.
Okay, so just reread my motion? Okay.
We know what the motion is.
Okay, I see. I would like to motion that we put the county monies as a business agenda item, an action item.
An action item. Okay. Any debate? No debate? Excellent, thank you.
And that's a 2/3 vote, right? Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. All opposed? Thank you. Okay.
Looks like it's an action.
Okay, so it's now an action item.
So can I make my motion again?
So it'll come up in just a little bit. We're going to go through our discussion items first. Okay.
Discussion items first.
Well, but we're in discussion items. We didn't.
I was the first one in discussion items.
The business item needs to be done now.
Point of information. So, I believe.
Now we have to discuss this motion.
Yes.
What?
Oh. Well, there we go. Decorum, everybody.
But regardless of whether, excuse me, Madam Chair.
Yes.
Regardless of whether they have the checkbook money checks or not, we still need to make this a motion. Excuse me, I have the floor. So we still need to make this a motion because we are asking that when the money is given to the Utah GOP, that it is remitted to the states within 30 days.
Okay, and that is
remitted from the state to the county.
That is your motion, and you want it to happen right now before the next discussion items.
Actually, Stuart is being more generous than what I'm asking for. But go ahead, yes.
Okay. I don't know the rules, but if we're going to vote, let's just vote on it now, right?
I would like to speak against this first. I've got plenty of people speaking for me. I don't even let my vice chair. I mean, even she lets me speak for myself.
Yes, thank you. So we're going to. That's the motion. Now we're going to have debate. Thank you, Jimmy.
Jimmy Keston, Washington County. I am strongly opposed to a change in anything that reduces funding to the state party, and speaking on behalf of all of the delegates of the County Central Committee of the Washington County Republican Party, anything that reduces funding to this party until the state party pays the $27,000 that is owed the Washington County Republican Party is an abomination. It is unfair, and it's unrealistic to say that we can just ignore an entire county that is the reddest county in this red state and gets our people elected by huge margins. And I believe that it is completely unfair to my county and my delegates and our central committee, which for 2 years has heard that we're just going to have to wait till the county has money, and now we have a proposal to take more money away from the state before we get paid, before there's even a payment plan in place. I think that that is ludicrous.
Thank you, Jimmy, for your comments. Do we have another 4? Janice?
I understand your frustration, Jimmy, I really do. But I have to go on record stating that that county is not the only county that was owed money. Davis County was also owed money, substantial. No, that's not true. That's not true. Davis County didn't get their caucus money either. And we finally just had... But that was because we knew we weren't going to get it back.
Let's keep it on point, can we? Can we keep it on point here?
Keep it on point.
Janice, would you please finish with
So-
why you are for this?
I don't know that Jimmy is ever going to get that money because I don't know when it's ever going to come up where we're that rich again. That's my point.
Judging by today.
And so to hold all the hostage money to all of the counties for one county that hasn't received the money, I think better yet would we try to raise the money for Jimmy, but not hold other counties hostage.
Okay, do we have anybody else to speak against?
So I really didn't talk to anybody about this. I kind of heard it from a couple birds, but that's it. I don't even know what the whole thing is about. But I certainly would not support this and watch Washington County get screwed out of $27,000.
Okay, do we
I don't think they will. I call a question.
Call the question. Thank you. We need to vote to come to I'm going to try without objection. Can we end debate? Sure. All in favor? Without objection? Without objection? Do I hear objection? No objection. Okay, we're going to go forward and we're going to vote. All in favor of effective, what was the language? January 1st, did you say? Yes, would you please? That would be best.
I motion that the Utah GOP disperse all checkbook monies back to the counties beginning January 1st, 2019, with the requirement to remit the money within 30 days of receiving it from the Utah State Treasurer.
All in favor, please stand. Thank you. All please sit. All opposed, please stand. The motion passes. Okay, the next item on the agenda, we have 15 minutes before we need to leave, is the Utah GOP website and Facebook pages. Drew Chamberlain, could you come to the microphone?
I would just like to ask a question before we move on. I would just like to know if the check-a-buck money ever went to the lawsuit. What was that money used for?
Without the chair here, we can ask Abe. Do you want to?
So the check-a-buck money that James, you're talking about when James passed the resolution to. It's been gathered, yeah. So yeah, going back, that amount is basically equivalent to what had been paid on our behalf to the lawsuit. Since that time, we haven't paid anything toward the lawsuit because it's gone the direction it's gone now.
Okay, I have another question, if you'd stay there, sure. Gabe. Abe, sorry, Long. Okay, just a ballpark figure. What are we talking about, the checks you have now to disperse to the counties?
Everything since the last, Peter?
Since the last meeting, so August and September checks total $352 between 20 counties.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, that's only 325 counties, but
that's what's come from the state.
Laugh all you want.
Laugh. That's what's come from the state.
Laugh all you want. I would like to propose that we donate that money to Washington County, and all the way through December until it starts going to county what we just voted for. Well, I'm proposing.
Well, the motion on the floor, if I understand correctly, Janice, you may have to clarify this for me, is that all the money that Abe just mentioned, and what monies? Through December 31st will go to Washington County. To help make them whole. That's the motion on the floor. Oh, we just got our second.
Madam Chair, point of order.
Yeah.
If the party belongs to the other counties, I don't think that the State Central Committee has the authority to do that. It's not our money is the whole point, I believe.
Yeah. Well,
we could motion that. I think I mean the minuscule amount of money we're talking about, we could easily motion to donate for money. I just don't think we have the authority to do that.
Well, and I'm sure there's plenty of people that agree, but we just said we had authority to go break parliamentarian law, and so I think at this point, if we're going to be the body that can do whatever we want, we can do whatever we want. And I mean, that's how I see it.
I would like to speak against that motion, whether it's a real one or not, since we have 12 minutes.
Yeah, and that I do have a question. We need to be out of here, or do we? Because we still have to get all of their stuff.
We've got to wrap it up. We got to be done at 6 o'clock. We got to finish this meeting at 6 o'clock, which was
okay.
So
there's a motion on the floor,
right.
And it was seconded.
Right. I think it is unfair. I would say to vote against this. It's unfair to penalize other counties by saying that we're going to take money from other counties to give it to my county just because my county was wrong by the state party.
She rescinds her motion. She rescinds her motion. She rescinds her motion.
So we move on?
Yes, so we will move on.
Okay, it's my turn.
I understand. Not yet. Goodbye.
I move that we move items B and C, which are now C and D, both say Utah GOP, as action items, and I call the question.
So you want to call the question on what? Making them action items?
Yes, make them both action items and call the question.
Well, okay. So you want to make C, the Utah GOP office and staff? How is that? I don't understand how those are action items.
Both of those items move up to action items.
Instead of discussion, you want to make those. And again, for the record, I do believe that is in violation of law. And so you would have to appeal.
Is that your ruling?
We would need a ruling. I'm going to make that ruling that it's against the law.
Okay, I appeal the ruling of the chair and call the question.
Okay, we have to vote to sustain my ruling or not. All in favor of sustaining my ruling, please stand. Okay. Thank you. Please have a seat. All opposed, please stand. Okay, this was to object to my ruling.
Right.
That it would be, my ruling was that it is not appropriate and it's against the law to make B and C, parliamentarian law, of course, would be to make B and C action items. And he's appealing that ruling of the chair. And
you lost.
People kind of stood and they kind of sat down, so we need to revote. If you want to sustain the ruling of the chair, please stand. Okay, thank you. Please have a seat. All in favor or all opposed to my ruling, please stand. My ruling. My ruling. Yeah, whether it's appeal or not. What do you think? Did it pass or not? It did not pass. It requires 2/3.
Division.
I'm sorry. The majority.
So it did pass.
The division. We're going to do division. So everyone in favor of sustaining my ruling, please stand and count. The ruling, I ruled that changing, as we did with Tina's item, I stated it again, that it is against parliamentarian law to do what Drew has requested, to change B and C from discussion items to action items. I'm sorry.
We have 8 minutes to be gone.
Yes.
I have a motion. I would like to make a motion to re-vote on Tina's motion, because I thought that we were voting for the state to give back the money to the counties that was owed. I did not understand that it was to cut off and start over. Like, give it all to the state? Is that what we did?
So the state keeps what they have.
The state keeps what they have.
And then starting in January,
so that's,
the counties,
I didn't understand that.
We'd have to vote to reconsider.
No, he had cut checks before he even got here. He brought them. So that's my motion. I would like to re-vote on that issue.
We do have a motion on the floor to adjourn. And we have a second. And so we'll go with that. And if it doesn't pass, we'll move on. But first we have to take a vote on the motion to adjourn. All in favor of the motion to adjourn, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay.
Point of information, I would just like to say we can stay past 6. We just have to pay extra.
Washington County already paid the $500 for us to be here today, so there was no cost to the state party. The state party doesn't have the funds to pay this. We only received $300 today.
So did the motion pass or fail?
The motion failed to adjourn.
Okay, so can we vote on this motion?
Do you want division? That's great. Please do.
Geez.
Everyone who would like to adjourn, please stand. Yes, please count.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27.
Okay, thank you. Please have a seat. All opposed, please stand. Christy,
1.
Kristen. Bill?
1.
2.
No, 2.
Nels is 4.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10,
11,
12, 13, 14,
15, 16, 18, 20.
Okay, we are adjourned. Thank you.
Please make sure that anything that